wanted to make a formal closing of these sessions. The one thing I want to make clear, everybody understands that we would continue doing this on the afternoons. We have breakout sessions. We have a couple of very interesting presentations on customer experience and governance. So we are really looking forward to have you here together with us. The one thing I can say is you know that this is the second day of an open sessions. Actually, among the GFCC members, we had a first day on Monday, then we have these 2 open days, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we are planning to have a 4th day on Thursday, right? And right after Monday, after all our private sessions, the one thing I remember I told Deborah is these sessions really blew my mind. It was so exciting. We were so excited about having this bunch of people from all around the world. Some of them traveled 24 hours on a straight line just to come all the way down from Oman. Thank you so much for that thing. But it was amazing the level of the content that all of us share. And it's funny because, today we mentioned this situation of competition versus cooperation. And here we are, different countries sharing best practices, right? And learning how to create sustainable value for the human race, which is, I find it amazing. So this first Monday really blew my mind. And then we had the session yesterday. And after that long session, then I went back to Jorge Ferreiro and I told him, this second day really blew my mind again. And I have to say that so far, the level of the panels we have had were so good that we really loved the level of interaction of the panelists, the level of the content, etc. So this has been by far for Excelencia the best event ever. So thank you so much to the GFCC for giving us the opportunity to be hosting you here in Buenos Aires. So I would ask the audience to give a big applause to all the GFCC members. Under the leadership of Deborah, Chad, Roberto, Jasmine, and the rest of the gang, this has been amazing and exciting. I have to thank also the local team from Excelencia. They have been working very hard to make this possible. So another applause for them. Thank you so much. This was a collective effort. You cannot distinguish whether you have a local team or the guys from Washington. This is exactly the same group of people working together. Thank you so much for the B20 for sponsoring us. Thank you so much for the INTI, Javier Ibanez, for getting with us in this journey. And thank you, of course, all our sponsors, especially the Platinum sponsors, Ternium and Tenaris. Again, we are not wrapping up. This still goes on the afternoon. But my take on what I've heard throughout all these days is that, first of all, it is extremely difficult to put just in a nutshell exactly what we have been hearing. But obviously, the way we approach this event is with a holistic approach. We walk through each of the challenges / opportunities we have in front of all this disruptive innovation. And it has been extremely rewarding and enriching just to get to hear all these different voices coming from different angles. It has been amazing. But the other thing I've heard is in order to cope with change, you need to be prepared with talent. And talent is a key thing. But talent is something you need to cope with all these upcoming changes that would theoretically sweep the earth and scorch it, right? The critical thing you need in order to change the world is leadership. And I see all this bunch of people like setting apart for the local audience. You are not checking the dollar quotes today. That's good. You are really here investing for the future. So that is exactly what we need. Leadership that really changed this world. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. And just on behalf of the GFCC, let me thank all of you who've been with us, who've come from around the world. I think it was 27 hours was the longest journey to get here to Buenos Aires. We have been absolutely thrilled, excited. We've learned so much. We've made new friends. Not only have we pushed the envelope on our thinking, I think we have begun to surface and identify some sustainable solutions and pathways we can take back into our everyday life, into the work of our respective countries. So Santiago, thank you for your vision, your leadership, bringing us here to Argentina. I remember last year in Malaysia, everybody said, oh my goodness, our colleagues from other GFC said, what are we going to do when we get to Argentina? The bar's even set higher. Well, it has been. So I can't tell you right now where we're going to be in 2019 because there's some competition underway for who will host the GFCC as we move around the world. But I can share with you that in 2020, we will be in Australia. So those of you who are interested, mark that on your calendars. But again, I want to thank the entire teams that have put this together, Roberto Alvarez, Jasmine, Chad Holliday, and all of our Argentinian colleagues, and most of all, for all of you who've come and participated. Thank you so much. Chad.
Santiago, Deborah, this is fantastic. What we owe the teams that did all this work is something individually. Experience would say that if we don't do something with what we learned here in the next 2 weeks, we're unlikely to do something with it. So I have a challenge for you in 3 areas. You've heard all these things, you've taken notes. Sometime in the next 2 weeks, do something individually with what you did, what you learned. Second thing is go back to a colleague where you work or in your family and say, here's something I learned, let's discuss it, and check me on this. Does this really make sense? And third, there must be somebody you met here you didn't know before. Text them, call them, tweet them, something in the next 2 weeks to build that relationship. And then all this work will be worthwhile. Thank you very much.